Facts from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then it feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in on August 6, 2021, and the stock market is going to go crazy tomorrow. And I got 3 stacks that I'm looking at coming into the rest of the week, but you also got a hedge fund taking a short position on AMC. So we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things that happen after hours, some updates with even the vaccine stocks. You're getting news from the FDA, but there is also a lot of developments here that happened today, but a lot of people are looking for that jobs report tomorrow. So I got some fun facts that we need to go over. So I got the plays, I got the keys. We're going to look at what happened today. We closed very strong. We're at S&P all-time highs. It is a very interesting day coming into tomorrow, but the rest of August as well, and I guess that's it. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, if you need updates on international Wi-Fi while flying through a plane, or you need the best organic fruit in the game, then yeah, we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything? Post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So, right off the bat, today was all about the economic data again, but you kind of got the trend that we were seeing all week where the data was kind of in the middle. It wasn't too good. It wasn't too bad. The day before it's bad. Then the next set is good. We got the jobless claims today, and they were in the middle. That was showing good, but the best part is this is leading us into tomorrow. So I'll get to that little fun fact, but a lot of people are looking at now, how does the jobs report get spun? That means what is going to be the interpretation? The number itself tomorrow is going to be important, and the non-farms are going to be released pre-market, so you will see the market react to get ready for that. But just as important as the number is now what the Fed is going to do. People want to see the data, but they want to now be able to interpret, okay, what does this data mean for future Fed policy, the tightening, the tapering, anything of that nature. Now, as far as expectations, a lot of economists aren't really expecting much, and if you actually even look at the bonds, there's not too much crazy positioning besides what we already have. And what a lot of people are looking to now is that ADP report, because usually there is a long history of the ADP not falling more than 500,000 short of the non-farm payrolls. So the non-farm payrolls are expected to be around like 880,000, and that's where a lot of analysts are expecting. And if you look at the ADP from yesterday, that was at 300,360. So you add that 500, it puts us back in line. But now this is a very important one. The only way that this doesn't end up good or will cause a real negative reaction tomorrow is if it is a really big miss. Because if you break that long history with the ADP, you have a lot of analysts and a lot of people kind of just chilling on the bonds. That would truly be a surprise, but I don't know if it would kind of keep the market surprised. It could be something we brush off. So how we come into Friday with everything going on, that will be key because there is some virus concern still. But moving to your first pretty picture, this is what we got today. This was the jobless claims. You could kind of see, and this is where I'm saying the data's in the middle. That number came in positive. It didn't surprise to the negative. It's 2 months in a row of this number going down, which is showing there are some people getting back to work, not really taking as much of the stimulus or unemployment. So that is a good sign. It's decent, but you got to weigh it with everything else that we got yesterday and the rest of the week. But our work is definitely cut out for us tomorrow. It is going to be about this economic data, and then quickly how the market's going to spin it. You're going to watch the reaction, and then people are going to position for next week. Now, we do got to talk a little bit about the virus, but one thing here, China did have some subtle escalation. I keep bringing this one up. You saw the watch list yesterday, but I believe it is getting a little bit more important here, and this news wasn't really covered too much. It came out in the morning, but kind of quickly got brushed off. You could finally see it. China's stocks went down today. The rest of the world went up, including the United States. People really didn't care about this, but there was another comment towards some of those gaming companies, and China was talking, or China sponsored media post was discussing about removing some of those tax benefits those companies have. But now, even more important and tying it to the global sense, what we got here, you had more city closures in China due to the virus, although the cases are surprisingly low. Now, given it's been a little bit more difficult to get data out of China, it kind of could skew this a little bit, but I had to zoom out so you could see it. In the last 14 days, as far as this one, and I have two different sources that I'm looking at it. This one here is from Bloomberg. This is their COVID tracker, but the 14-day change in almost all of the provinces, it amounts to about less than 100 cases. And then if you go to the Johns Hopkins library, you can see here, you only got about 37 active confirmed cases. If you look at everything, it is only about 74. So some of these numbers are showing that the latest value may show 400 or whatever, but this is from prior, meaning some areas just haven't really gone up more. There's only a few more that we saw. So we talked about this today, but I believe it is a little bit more important here, but this is what I'm looking at here if there is any other developments now. And then I will get into some economics. We'll talk a little mini lesson on there, and you could possibly see how this relates. But coming into the company news and events here, I think I'm really excited for this one just because I guess I like the World Star baby mama drama. I don't know. I want to see what happens. And I'm still holding my shares, but hedge fund Odey, they have taken a short position on AMC. This came after hours, and the funniest metric about all of it is that AMC in the last week or so is down about 25%. But now following this report, it is up 12% just on that information. So the hedge fund said that they see a compelling short opportunity, but now I think the AMC apes see this as some more ammo. So definitely keep your eye on this one. I want to see how it plays. AMC apes, let me know. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? How do you feel about this one? I will tell you this, though. The hedge fund there is only, I say only, but they're only capitalized at $650 million. So just think about how Melvin got kind of blown out the water there. Melvin was a lot bigger. So I want to see how this one plays. It's going to be interesting, but that was the first one. The next piece of news, this was kind of a little bit late here, but the trade deficit in the United States has hit a record low. So this relates to what I'm talking about overseas, even the currencies and all of that, because we are hitting a record low on our deficit, meaning we are buying a lot more than we are selling. And now if you look at balance of payments and economic adjustments, the only way to fix this is if you get a weaker currency. But the fact that our deficit is increasing, that is implying that our currency may be stronger than we think because we are able to buy more than we are selling. So this trend has kind of been continuing for a decent amount, but I think moving forward in the next few months here, depending on how this plays out or what we see with China, I think this could have a lot bigger of an effect. And you can see what I'm talking about here on the chart. This is the trade deficit. So you're seeing ever since 2020, this is a big drop. But now the fact that you kind of got a boost there, I believe this was around March, and now we're coming back down. You really haven't seen this trend in a while. Even look at 2005. So this is a very, very big level. I mean, we could even bring it back, but this is a historic low, and this has a lot of implications on the macro for currency. You guys hear me bring that up a lot. What I just explained with weakening or strengthening, this has a lot of implications, so we got to keep our eye on that. But watch that. Another piece of news that came out today, the CBO finds that the infrastructure deal will add $256 billion to the budget deficit in 10 years, and this may prove to be some headwinds. Some people are now calling it a Trojan horse, but what people are discussing here is that, or at least the Republicans kind of opposing it, or the people who are in the middle before they vote, I'm talking senators, they're viewing a lot of these, this pays for that, the crypto tax pays for that. They're viewing it as a lot of gimmick here. So depending on how this plays out, this might throw a wrench into everything. But on the reverse side, some senators are saying this is not accounting, the CBO is not accounting for real world accounting or a real world score. Pretty much they're saying this is just numbers. It's not reality. There is still the factor of unused government money, where they could pull this and that and how it's going to generate revenue and all of that. They're not really able to forecast it. It's not as if the CBO has been right. And now tie this into the budget deficit or the debt ceiling. So far, we are seeing a big divergence between what the CBO thinks and what the politicians think. So they've been wrong a few times, the CBO, but they've been right a few times. It's an interesting variance that we got going on here. So we got to watch out for that. Coming into the companies, there was a lot of earnings news. I'm not going over that. We'll probably touch on that in the morning. But dealing with Apple specifically, Apple announced news today that they're coming out with this system to detect detect and report sexually explicit child photos on the iPhone. And some people applauded this, and then at the same time now, some analysts are saying that this could raise some of the privacy concerns, and that's something Apple had going for them. But now, here's a pretty picture to get an idea of what's going on. They have a database of like bad pictures, and that's what they got here. And then they also have your photos right here. So then they're saying, okay, does that photo match? Then it generates kind of this ticket. They upload that ticket to the server. If your photo or that ticket exceeds the threshold for pretty much explicit or negative photos or something dangerous, then they refer it to their team to go and see what's going on and take action against it. So this didn't affect this stock, but you're probably going to have people talk about this. I'm sure we'll get it in their earnings. It does relate to another update. So if they do talk more privacy updates, just remember what that did to some of the social media companies like Snap, Twitter, Pinterest, any of those, when they did make some of those changes. So there was that. Another piece of news here. This one was an interesting economic one, but Taiwan has profited off of the China pineapple ban. And you also got a vote by the House today that voted, and they passed it, that they will not list Taiwan as a China territory on any federal map. So this could be seen as some escalation. And for the pineapple thing, you can kind of see how the pressure's playing out. Pretty much, China stopped buying pineapples from Taiwan. They were one of their biggest customers, but they were trying to rein in some control, and they've been doing this with places like even Australia to get leverage in the trade war. But essentially what ended up happening, China banned the pineapples, but then Japan stepped in and bought more pineapples than China. It sounds really funny, but tie this into the economics of everything, and it's kind of highlighting a lot of the demand and some of those pressures overseas. So we want to see how that one plays out. Another piece of news, you did get the bill, the executive order signed by President Biden to make it where most producer or consumer vehicles, at least 50% of them made, will be electric by 2030. And then you got another piece of news out of Ford. They're aiming to cut 1,000 jobs through a voluntary buyout. So instead of firing people, they'll say, hey, we'll pay you. You got to leave. Thank you. So that one was interesting. And then back to the virus, the Delta variant is threatening the back to work move and events. A lot of companies announced, there's probably like 10 other companies today that said that they are halting their return back to the office. That's what a lot of people wanted to do. So this is actually signaling kind of a big shift here. So if that tide starts to turn, we really want to see how that one plays out. And then finally, Senator Manchin from, I believe, West Virginia, he has urged Powell to start QE tapering. He says it could lead to an economic or an economy overhang. But now tying that into the trade deficit, it's very, very hard to say. So we will see. But we're finishing up our first week of August here tomorrow. There's a lot on the table. Once we get this economic data, there's going to be more economic data next week, but you're going to get a lot more comments. We're wrapping up earnings. That could take away a little bit of the catalyst, but all in all, there is a lot going on, and we need our head in the game. So I hope you're ready. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 3 different stocks that I'm looking at today. I made plays on 2 of them. One of them I was already holding, but I think we're going to get a lot of action on Friday. This job report could free up a lot of tension, or it could bring a weird stalling effect out here. So companies with news will be important. Otherwise, it's going to be following the momentum coming to tomorrow. But as far as the first play, I went with Nautilus, N-A-U-T, not N-T-L-S. That is the maker of Bowflex. This is a biotech company, but they popped today on the news that Amazon took a stake. It was pretty much disclosed today. The stake was taken on June 30th. This was the first time they went, and that is when they added the shares. And if you look at Amazon's holdings, they only own 3 other companies. So this is Amazon, the company itself, taking a stake. It's not an individual, it is the company, but they only own 3 other stocks. One's like AT something, and then VTIL, and then the final one is Nautilus. But a lot of people were going over this. They were saying that it was old news and this and that, but if you look at the filings, it was only announced on June 30th. It's been a month from there. I'm not sure if you could have got the info before, but I believe this is one of the first times a month after, pretty much 30 days, 45 days later, you got the filing in today, and that's what it showed. If anything, I think the news is a little bit old, but the revelation of it did not come out till today, and people started reacting. So I actually really like this play. I thought it'd be good. And why? Because Amazon bought in at like 10.50. So coming to the play, you can see here, I did too. I got in on the halt on accident. I did a market order and it got halted, but I said, I like this idea. I'll stick with it. So I ended up with 500 shares at 940, a pretty decent position, and I'm down $500 on it, $12. I think that's because of it after hours a little bit, or 12%, excuse me. But I grabbed the first set of shares, 300 at 980, and then it dropped, and then I bought 200 more because it dropped after that. People were saying it's old, and then I went on stream. You could go see it. I pulled up all the filings. I looked at Amazon. I was going through all of them, and it just looked like there was no other report of this, and Amazon only owned 3 companies. So I'm buying this as a swing trade. If I can make it free, if it does get volatile, it does have a small float, I will be able to sell half of my investment, make it free, and then we'll ride it from there. Otherwise, I'm pretty much going to hold this until it starts to pop. I think it's pretty decent, but that is the first play. The second play is Ford. I went with the YOLO, and this is my final stop on it. I'm gonna wait a little bit, but we've talked about this play last week. I'm gonna get clapped on that one, 280 down the drain, so I gotta go a little bit smaller, got a little bit of time. I went with the August 20th, I believe the $16 call, and I'm buying them here on the Robinhood instead of the TD because I got a lot of the capital getting tied up and I don't want it to get fluctuated with some of those premium sales, so we gotta fight back against that. But I grabbed 20 of these calls for 4 cents a pop. $16 is a big move. It's way out of there. I was responding to the event today, but in general, I like it. If we do get a pickup in this name, I think Ford has a lot of room to go, but it's kind of been bad even after a good earnings. And then GM clapped it a little bit, but I think it's a pure YOLO out there. We'll see how it plays tomorrow and coming into next week. And then Snapchat, this is going to be a Friday YOLO. I don't know if I'm going to add to it. It was looking good these last 2 days. If we get some activity tomorrow, that delayed continuation and strength out of Facebook is looking very, very good. So I like that, but I'm probably not going to force this one as much. However, just keep your eye on some of those social media stocks. And then finally, UNH and Cigna. I got this one from an analyst opinion, and what they're talking about is that this could be a good short here over the next couple of weeks or couple of months here because medical had a really, really good outperformance. If you look at June, July, when a lot of things were getting clapped, medical did very, very good. So some people are saying if we do kind of get a shift bouncer, depending on how things play out, they may have the most to lose. And if you looked at Cigna, UNH today, they really did get clapped. So we will see how those play out, but those are going to be the main plays. As far as everything else, I did not make any other trades today. We got $1,500 back of that loss there on AMD, so that credit spread's coming back. We'll see how that plays out. I did sell some of that Datadog. So if you remember, I've been talking about this one as one of my favorite infrastructure or tech infrastructure plays. They had earnings. They killed it. They were up 18% today. It closed up 100% on the Septembers, but at one point, we were up like 225%. So these 5 remaining are worth $500, but I sold another 5 for about $1.50. Got about like $700, $800 of profit there. So we got to make it free and we profited 50% on the weeklies. We got another $300-$400 was selling out before earnings, but I'm going to be riding them out. They did good, and you see the chart. I think they're going to do even better, so we'll see what happens. But there was that play. Didn't sell anything else, and the other one I really want to watch is Square. We still got that September. They picked up today, and the fact that these contracts are still holding 500%, I think it's great, and it can mean a lot there, so I want to keep watching them. As far as everything else, I'm still going to be watching Nautilus. I really like that. K-Web and NetEase, the plays from yesterday, as you can see it was right beneath everyone's nose today. K-Web dropped 2%, and even NetEase, the gaming company, like I said, I think we're early. They are down another 6%. It fell a little bit more after hours, but the premiums move, but not too much. Like I said, they could still go down. There's still meat on the bone, but even after this type of move, you still really didn't get a panic, but you could see here coming to the place here on NetEase, the one from yesterday is up 40%. As far as those K-Webs, they're only up 10%, even though the index dropped 2%. So kind of keep that in mind there. That's the shorter one. And then the longer dated ones, they did not move at all. They're still holding up 10%. In the morning, though, they were up there. So you're watching the panic and then kind of seeing it level out. So I kind of like that with the chart, but it's kind of showing that the premiums are a little high, but it will respond to some volatility. So we will see how those play out, but I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on those. Watch Airbnb. They're back up at that 150 marker right below there, but a lot of good travel news lately, the demand, the expectations. Honestly, they should be up more. This is a big move up from 130, but we've seen this thing run really, really big, but the news has been looking good. We are still waiting to decide what we're going to do with the long term, taking it slow and steady, but keep your eye on them. Dropbox, they moved up after hours again. If you've seen this company, it just keeps going, so it is a very interesting one, but if you guys remember, we have that old leap, and it kind of puts us in an interesting scenario. So we've held this one for a decent amount amount of time, but it's a 35 call. It's almost there to the money. Remember, I made them free right before, so got one more contract left, still worth 27%. I want to see how that one plays out tomorrow, but keep your eye on them. And then AMD, this one was a good one in terms of my premium play, but even though it's a big move, we went over a report. This is actually a 1 standard deviation move. So considering how much it's moved here, this move is actually kind of typical. So we don't know if the story's done or not. We will see tomorrow or how the market takes it, considering you had a good day and then this one kind of sold off. But watch them, watch Robinhood. They had news that they're announcing another 100 million shares from investors in the company that are selling. The company will not receive any of the money, but this kind of spooks some investors there. I think it's quite interesting. I was just praising them yesterday, but we will see how this one plays out. Thankfully, our shares are free, but back to Coinbase, they may be a better competitor. You had the EIP, that London fork for Ethereum. Ethereum did very good, but they're coming back up here. It could be a breakout level. We will see how this one plays out there, but they also did announce that you could use Apple Pay and Google debit cards or something linked to it for purchases of Bitcoin now. So that was interesting. Uber rocketed up. Surprisingly, it clipped like the low 30s or the high 30s early in the morning. I was looking at it for the first 3 minutes. I was like, okay, maybe we buy something, but then it just shot up and went too crazy. So that was good. Still going to be watching that. Thankfully, we got some time after waiting for this long-term deposit. I want to watch PayPal. This one's kind of a runner-up for tomorrow. You saw what Square did and all of that, so keep your eyes on them. That's important. And then Affirm, I sold out of the shares at like $70. I made $100. We did that swing trade the other day. Didn't quite hold. It was trading a little bit weird. I thought it would do good with Square because Square did good. It caught some of that steam, but it is a pretty finicky stock here at these levels. So I only bought that trade to swing it because the option premiums were too expensive. Made $100. A lot easier to walk away. So watch them. And then Novavax, they had a mixed earnings, but then they said that they might be delaying their approval for the vaccine. So it brought up some interesting concerns there. Had a very wild swing. I would definitely watch those coming into tomorrow. And then as far as TLT, watch this after the jobs report. There isn't too much positioning. So depending on the data and the interpretation, you will probably see a more natural reaction. But like I'm bringing up with some of this macro data, what's going on overseas, the dollar is very, very important right now. And depending on how this plays out, that should probably give us our answer. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure to post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need you to remember, if God's laughing, you should too, baby. But Nicole loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.